Tonight, guilty pleas in a horrific animal cruelty case.
I've had many animal cruelty cases, but this case was different in that there was many incidents.
What unfolded in and outside of court as a Winnipeg couple admits guilt in the disturbing case. Also tonight, it's budget day in Winnipeg.
We need to maintain affordability for Winnipeggers. We're working very hard as a council to do that.
How much more you can expect to pay in property taxes and where the money is going. Plus.
And I'm Daniel Halmerson. I'm back here at the Grey Cup Festival coming up. We're celebrating all things Canadian football.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. An update tonight on a horrific case involving almost 100 dead or injured animals. The Winnipeg couple at the center of it pled guilty today to 6 counts of animal cruelty, which spans 6 months. The pair sold online videos of their crimes. CTV's Joseph Bernacki sat in court this morning and joins us now live. Joseph, what happened?
Marilee, Chad Kabatz and Irene Lima sat quietly in court today, sitting pretty far from one another, I might add, flanked by their lawyers. Both were quiet until it was time to plead guilty. A warning tonight. The details of their crimes are very graphic in nature. The atmosphere was tense Friday as Crown Prosecutor Boyd McGill detailed the animal cruelty case against Irene Lima and Chad Kabatz. Miss Lima crushes them under her feet as they struggle to free themselves. She stomps on the animals until they are essentially a paste of blood, entrails, and bones on her floor. McGill says the video evidence they reviewed shows more than 90 separate animals were tortured and killed by Kabatz and Lima. This includes 67 cats, 6 rabbits, 7 birds, and 6 hamsters, among others. An impassioned McGill says it is impossible to watch these videos and conclude that the animals are not suffering and in pain. The couple made $2,800 through the sale of these videos. All of them were described as extremely graphic. And as Lima's counsel points out, the scale of these crimes is massive.
This is certainly the most serious because of the number of animals that were injured or killed. So it'll be a precedent-setting case.
His client pled guilty Friday to 6 counts of animal cruelty. Her co-accused Chad Kabatz also pled out to the same 6 charges. His lawyer, Ethan Pollock, says the case is also uncharted waters for him.
The facts are obviously disturbing, but I'm a defense lawyer, and sometimes these are the things that we have to do on a daily basis. Can eat away at us too, like we're human.
As the case played out inside the courtroom, outside the law courts, animal rights activists gathered to call for serious consequences for the pair. Christy Zamonski, director of a local animal rights group, Project Artemis, says animals don't have a voice.
Animal abuse is in Winnipeg. It's pretty bad. Wanting stiffer punishment, hoping that, we can just be their voice. If it was like people or children harmed, they would have a big, support group outside.
8 other charges, including making child pornography and bestiality, were stayed in a plea deal. McGill believes the 6 counts to which the pair pled guilty reflects the enormity of the crime. He then goes on to say, at sentencing, we will be recommending something that is proportionate to the gravity of these offenses, each of their moral responsibility. Cook says a sentencing date is expected in the coming weeks. Under the Criminal Code of Canada, the maximum sentences is 5 years in prison.
Joseph, one of the more disturbing details from this investigation was that this couple intended to torture a child. Did that come up at all?
Marilee, Lima's lawyer says that Winnipeg police did find text messages showing that intention between the pair during their investigation. However, the Crown did not pursue this in court.
All right, thanks for this, Joseph. Fire has claimed another Winnipeg restaurant. This footage sent to us by a CTV News viewer shows plumes of smoke coming from La Roca, a Mexican restaurant on Smith Street. Later, emergency crews could be seen tending to the scene with shards of glass from the windows on the ground. The city says firefighters responded to the blaze just before 6 o'clock this morning and had it under control about 40 minutes later. No one was hurt, but in a post on social media, the restaurant says it believes this fire is due to arson. The fire is just the latest in a string of fires involving downtown restaurants and other small businesses, including Bougie and Johnny G's. But last week, police said they are all not necessarily connected. Mayor Scott Gillingham says there are no surprises in the 2026 city budget, which was tabled today. Homeowners will pay 3.5% more for property taxes this year, lower than last year's surprise hike. And there's also a lot of money in it for infrastructure and emergency services. Jeff Keel joins us now live to help break down the budget even more. Jeff, what were the big takeaways?
40 new firefighters and hundreds of millions of dollars for the city's most expensive project.
After raising property taxes above what he promised last year, Mayor Scott Gillingham restored his campaign pledge for 2026.
I also want to be clear, you won't find any surprises in this budget, and I think that that's a good thing.
Winnipeg homeowners will pay an additional 3.5% in property taxes. The city says that's $75 more a year for a home assessed at $371,000. That's down from the 5.95% hike in 2025.
And the property tax increase proposed for 2026 is the second lowest among major cities so far in this budget cycle.
One of the big ticket items in the budget is for emergency services. 40 new firefighters are coming over 4 years. The new hires will float through stations to fill sick and vacation absences. There is also a new wellness clinic in the works and 11.5 paramedic positions funded by the province. A lot of this to curb burnout and overtime costs.
What firefighters are dealing with on the street, the people in various types of mental health crises, the job has changed and the absences are higher legitimately.
One city councillor says all 40 firefighters are needed now.
10 firefighters a year? Are you kidding? With the crisis we're facing, with the burnout that's happening out there? I mean, I was shocked.
On infrastructure, the city plans on spending $3.8 billion over 6 years. $547 million of that on the last phase of the North Sewage Treatment Plant. $156 million is earmarked for roads in 2026.
This is very much a generational budget. It makes the long-term investments we need as we grow.
The construction industry is pleased money for roads is maintained, but says that won't get you what it used to.
Cost of everything is going up, so the city is definitely not getting the same bang for its buck.
The budget also has $2.5 million for security upgrades at the Millennium Library, 36 positions to expand transit service at night and on demand. Overall, the budget adds 135 new positions across city departments.
I think this is a budget that does move in the right direction in many aspects. Could it have gone further? Sure, probably could have.
The budget also says that the Windsor Park pool will remain operating for 2026 while the city continues to work on a potential aquatic center for the area.
Jeff, how is the city planning to pay for that third phase of the North Sewage Plant?
The city plans to borrow the money merrily, while it also hopes for money from the other levels of government. That would be another $1 billion needed to finish the project. So this will put the city at its debt limits. So the budget says that the city will be doing a review of its debt strategy.
All right. Thanks for this, Jeff. Tonight, the city wants you to share your thoughts on the budget. You can head online to winnipeg.ca/budget 2026 to fill out a survey. You can also register there to provide in-person comments to the relevant committee. Grey Cup excitement is reaching a fever pitch tonight, and there is no shortage of fun events taking place to help keep fans entertained ahead of Sunday's big game. CTV's Daniel Halmerson has been out and about all day checking out what's going on, and it looks like he's starting to get into the Grey Cup spirit. I like the addition of the hat. You look very Canadian.
It is very Canadian, Marilee, and it's unnecessary. It's beautiful. I'm actually outside here. It's the outdoor social outside of the convention center. And so this is kind of the fans' first experience when they get here. There's obviously plenty of drinks flowing. There's even a human claw machine. I've never seen this before. You may see someone, they're getting dropped down and a chance to get some gloves, which, again, they probably don't need to wear given this mild weather. Now, tonight inside the convention center, there's a lot happening too. Alan Doyle from Great Big Sea is headlining the stage as part of the concert series in Touchdown Manitoba. Brad Paisley's over at the arena tonight, so it's going to be a busy night here in downtown Winnipeg. Coming up midway through the show, I'm going to talk to the president of the Winnipeg Pin Collector Club. Yes, it's a time-honored Grey Cup tradition where fans from different teams trade these pins. Looking forward to that, and of course looking forward to hanging out with CFL fans from across Canada, Marilee.
Oh. You got a fan apparently, Danny. Please become the human claw machine and somebody take a photo of it for me? Maybe that lady behind you can take the picture, please.
I'll do my best.
All right, thanks, Danny. Colleen Brady is back now with a first look at our Grey Cup Skywatch forecast, and boy, it's looking good.
Yeah, I do beg to differ with Danny, though. I think that hat of his is essential, and I think he should always wear it. He might be glad to wear it, though, because look at this. A little bit of light rain has popped up across southern Manitoba, but that is not dampening anyone's spirits clearly out at the RBC Convention Centre, and it shouldn't, because temperatures absolutely soared today across the south. We'll get into that a little bit. Temperatures won't be quite as warm over the weekend, but still above normal. It will be beautiful. I'll have more details on what you can look forward to if you're heading out to the Santa Claus Parade, and of course to the big game, the Grey Cup, and even the tree lighting at City Hall coming up on Monday. We'll bring you that live here on CTV. But first, let's take a look through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, light rain, 7 degrees. Winds out of the west-northwest at 14 kilometers an hour. The pressure is dropping, and the humidity right now is 87%.
Thanks, Colleen. The town of Niverville is warning people avian flu has been detected in the community. On social media, the town says Manitoba Conservation told it the virus was found in a local goose population. It's now informing residents to steer clear of any birds that appear sick or dead and to keep an eye on children and pets. If you do come across deceased or unhealthy birds, you're told to call Manitoba Conservation. A provincial spokesperson says avian influenza is circulating widely in Canada this year. The provincial wildlife branch has tested approximately 519 geese, with 38 coming back positive. The Manitoba Nurses Union is raising concerns about staffing levels in the home care system. Citing documents it obtained under the Freedom of Information Act, the union says the number of home care clients grew by 41% over the past 10 years. This, while the number of total nursing hours only grew by 2%. It says this has resulted in the number of available hours per client dropping from nearly 8 to 5.6.
What I'm being told by nurses and what nurses feel is that there's no longer an ability to provide that holistic care. So at one point with home care, if you went in to talk to a client to do a dressing on a client, you would often have the ability and the time to say to that client, has there anything else been going on? Oh, you've been feeling dizzy. Let me take your blood pressure. Now nurses say it's a task. Go in and do the dressing and leave.
The union's report makes 6 recommendations, such as adopting modern scheduling technology and giving more support to family members. In an email response to questions, a provincial spokesperson blamed the previous government for cuts to hospital home teams. It says work is ongoing to staff up home care services and improve scheduling predictability. Well, the holiday season is coming up, but Canadians are coming up short. A new survey says 3 in 5 Canadians are making changes to their spending, and one reason is tariffs. CTV's Harrison Shin reports.
Here in Polo Park Mall, a lineup to see Santa is forming. He's working hard to take photos with well-behaved kids, while shoppers stroll with bags, shoppers like Leanne Hanneschuk.
We bought some clothing for my grandchildren, or I should say she did, yes, because that's her gift. She also bought a headlamp for my husband.
But Mr. Grinch might rule the holiday season, at least for some shoppers. A survey from Bank of Montreal Friday shows 41% of Canadians plan to cut their holiday spending. 15% are budgeting to brace for impact of higher costs. One of the reasons, tariffs.
There's this general just concern from Canadians of just maybe needing to be really fiscally responsible over the holidays, because there's still a little bit of uncertainty of where things are headed next year.
In addition, 25% are starting their shopping early to avoid potential increases, with respondents on average plan to spend $2,300, including travel and food.
There's an unusually high level of stress this year. People are very focused on pricing, waiting for sales, comparing prices, looking online.
Hanneschuk says she's not surprised by the survey results because she's already started looking out for deals.
I bought a Barbie set that I saw on Canadian Tire, I think last summer, that was on clearance. So of course I bought it. Put it away.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The city is stepping up cleaning at a transit stop due to a rather nauseating situation. Check this out. A viewer sent us these photos of the entrance to the Osborne station, overwhelmed by bird feces, including on the door handles. The city says it's working with its contractor to have it cleaned more often. And just this month, it says it changed its policy of cleaning all touch points from once to twice a week. It's also looking to add more deterrence to keep the birds away. A free designated driver program is hoping to help more Manitobans get home safe this season, but it needs more volunteers.
Every year, more than 30,000 Canadians take part in Operation Red Nose as volunteers. Each one of them offers one or more evenings of their time to their community so the holidays can remain a festive season for everybody.
Operation Red Nose kicks off on November 28th. It will run for 5 weeks this holiday season, offering free rides home for people and their vehicles. Since being founded in 1984, the program has expanded across the country to combat impaired driving. The nonprofit organization has also raised more than $35 million in donations for youth and amateur sports.
It's a free and confidential service, so anybody watching this at home, make sure that you know that there's no judgment.
In 2024, the program gave more than 1,100 safe rides across Winnipeg. It hopes to boost that number this year. The organization says multiple positions are available, including escort drivers, dispatchers, greeters, and phone operators. Those interested in volunteering can visit rednosewinnipeg.ca. A Winnipeg City Councillor is looking into ways to increase pedestrian safety on Hart Trail. Charleswood Tuxedo Councillor Evan Duncan wants city administrators to look into the feasibility of building an underpass between Hart Trail and Headingley Grand Trunk Trail. It would require going underneath the perimeter highway. There's currently no pedestrian connection between these two trails, and the motion says an underpass would improve pedestrian safety. Duncan wants city staff to investigate trail usage, safety data, and engineering information on the feasibility of the underpass. He also wants them to examine ways to position the project for funding opportunities. The motion will be discussed at the next Assiniboia Community Committee on November 20th. Tomorrow, Manitoba Hydro's Santa Claus Parade, along with ongoing Grey Cup festivities, are going to affect how you're able to get around downtown. The parade begins at 5 p.m. starting at Portage in Main. It will make its way along Portage towards an eventual left turn onto southbound Memorial Boulevard. CTV News Winnipeg is live streaming the event. Now, in addition to the parade, several block parties are taking place downtown Saturday afternoon. Those all kick off at 2 p.m. Multiple streets will be closed for the parade and those parties. Starting at 11 a.m., the southbound lanes of Main Street will be closed between Portage Avenue and York Avenue. Then at 2 p.m., Portage Avenue will close between Main Street and Memorial Boulevard. Memorial Boulevard will be closed north between Portage Avenue and Broadway and south between St. Mary and Broadway. The southbound lanes of Route 62 will also close starting at 2 p.m. This year's parade coincides with the 112th Grey Cup here in Winnipeg. You can find full details about all this on our website. Just go to ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Still to come tonight, fresh criticism for the federal budget ahead of a crucial vote.
We think that the definition the government's used around capital investments is overly expansive.
Some are now casting doubt on the math in the Liberal government's budget. Those details just ahead.
Give a child a winter coat. You give them the means to go to school on a cold day, a chance to play outside, because no child should be freezing cold. Donate to Coats for Kids. Proudly sponsored by United Way Winnipeg and CTV.
Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil added $1.40. The Canadian dollar dropped slightly. Gold lost $100. The TSX rose 72 points. The Dow Jones gained 309 points, while the Nasdaq is up 30 points. The drought situation continues to improve across much of the province. Take a look at this. This was how things looked at the end of September, according to the federal government's drought monitor. You can see that swath of extreme drought, which reached from the Interlake all the way to the northeast and even over the border into Ontario. And most of the north was classified as severe drought. Now here is how things looked at the end of October. That patch of extreme drought has all but disappeared, and most of the north downgraded to either moderate or abnormally dry. The drought monitor says much of southern Manitoba received twice as much precipitation as usual last month. Meantime, the province says it's going to begin offering a free financial incentive for farmers to plant more perennial forages. Beginning in the new year, the government will be offering a 15% discount on forage establishment insurance premiums for those who plant perennial forage crops on marginal land. Land is considered marginal if it struggles to produce animal crops, whether due to poor soil quality or erosion or something similar. Perennial forage crops tend to improve the soil and can include crops such as alfalfa, clover, and timothy. Well, just 3 days before MPs cast their vote on the Liberal budget, a parliamentary watchdog is throwing cold water on the government's accounting and its promise to meet its own deficit targets. CTV's Judy Trin takes a closer look at where the gap is.
There is one figure all sides agree on. Budget 2025 comes with a whopping $78 billion deficit. Parliament's budget watchdog says that digging out of the hole will be harder than the Liberal government is letting on.
We think that the definition the government's used around capital investments is overly expansive. And in particular, they've thrown some things in there, some categories of spending, which other jurisdictions in other countries would not typically include.
Under Mark Carney, the budget is split into operational costs, day-to-day expenses like the salaries of public servants, versus capital investments, such as long-term funding for major projects.
The United States has changed. That's their right. We must respond. That is our imperative. And the budget builds Canada strong by focusing on what we can control.
Despite the record deficit, the finance minister says the government will balance the operating side in 3 years and shrink the deficit to GDP ratio starting next year.
100% of our MPs oppose the costly Carney credit card budget that is going to drive up the cost of food, housing, and living.
The government's categorization of $311 billion in capital investments is significantly higher than the watchdog's number of $217 billion. It's a difference of $94 billion that the budget officer says should be added to operational costs, making it less likely for the government to balance that side of the ledger.
In fact, over the 5-year horizon, the operating budget would not be balanced at all.
The budget watchdog is recommending that independent experts determine exactly what is a capital investment, given how subjective the definition can be. As for Monday, Parliament resumes, and the public should brace for another round of confidence votes on the budget. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The BBC has apologized to Donald Trump for a documentary it aired last year, just before the U.S. presidential election. The apology is for misleading editing of a speech Trump made just before the January 6th riots in Washington, D.C. Lawyers for Trump sent a letter to the BBC demanding the apology and threatening a $1 billion lawsuit. The BBC says it regrets the way the video was edited, but says it strongly disagrees with the basis for a defamation claim. A letter of apology was sent by the chair of BBC in a personal letter to the White House. Russia launched a large drone and missile attack on Ukraine today, killing 6 people in Kyiv. It was one of the biggest attacks on the capital so far. Ukrainian officials say most of the drones and missiles were shot down, but falling debris and fires damaged high-rise apartments, a school, a medical facility, and other buildings. The city was the focus of the attacks, but drones also hit the Black Sea city of Chornomorsk, killing 2 people. Ukraine launched a missile and drone attack on Russian oil exporting infrastructure, as well as an oil refinery. Several people are dead after a bus rammed into people lined up at a bus stop in Stockholm.
I just feel for the victims' families. I mean, they're just waiting to get on their bus home, and then that will be the last thing. Yeah, it's just so surreal.
The incident happened during the afternoon rush hour. The bus driver has been arrested, and police have begun an investigation to determine what led to the crash. In Brazil, indigenous protesters blocked the main entrance to the COP30 climate conference today. The demonstrators say they want a voice at the table. Conference participants were rerouted elsewhere, and the protest ended following a discussion with the climate talks president. Conference organizers have touted this edition of the annual meeting as an opportunity for Indigenous people to have more prominence in the discussions. Catholic residents of a city in Peru are paying homage to Pope Leo with a special gesture. This 5-meter-high fiberglass statue was created by a Peruvian artist and sculptor known for his religious and monumental works. The residents consider the pontiff a cornerstone of their community after he spent more than 10 years of his religious life there. It's a central feature of the so-called Pope's route.
I'm Daniel Halmerson. I'm live here in the RBC Convention Center. Plenty of CFL spirit on tap. The Grey Cup Festival continues after the break.
Yeah. Barely, I don't know if you caught that. Danny's now wearing 2 hats. Will he be wearing 3 when we come back to him next? I hope so. Grey Cup Sunday, abundant sunshine, up to 2 degrees. Kickoff happens after the sun sets, so if you're heading out to the big game, of course, dress for the weather. We have the tree lighting at City Hall on Monday. We'll bring you that live on the show here. 3 degrees during the day, sunny, mostly cloudy Tuesday. 3, chance of flurries Wednesday. 0 is our high for Thursday.
Fans from across the country will be descending on Princess Auto Stadium this weekend for the Grey Cup, and they'll be joined by at least one notable fan from Ottawa. Mark Carney is scheduled to attend Sunday's game. He's one of a handful of events in Winnipeg the Prime Minister is taking part in that day. In the morning, he's scheduled to take part in a Louis Riel commemoration event at St. Boniface Cathedral. It marks the 140th anniversary of the execution of the Métis leader and founder of Manitoba, and later he's meeting with the Premier. And fans can also expect an appearance by the Royal Canadian Air Force. The Armed Forces says 4 CF-18 Hornet fighter jets will be conducting 2 flybys over top the stadium. One will happen at 5 p.m., the other at 6. Those, of course, are all dependent on the weather. All right, turning now to some major news from Winnipeg Blue Bomber land. A couple of the team's key architects are sticking around. Bomber head coach Mike O'Shea has signed on for his 12th season in the top position. The Winnipeg Football Club made that announcement this afternoon. Also announced today, general manager Kyle Waters is returning for the 2026 season. Both of their contracts were set to expire. Well, the Grey Cup may not be until Sunday, but already a legion of fans are soaking in all the festivities happening across our city in the lead up. Let's check back in with CTV's Daniel Halmerson. I see you're back to 1 hat again. Your hat game tonight on point, Danny.
Well, hopefully I can get a hat trick by the end of this. Great news on Mike O'Shea and Kyle Walters, of course. And right now I'm joined by Ron Boyle, who's the president of the Winnipeg Pin Collectors Club. Now, thank you, Ron, for having us. And pin trading has become a big part of CFL festivities. How did this all start?
Well, it first started for me in 1991. I've pin traded with the Blue Bombers every time they've been to the city for 4 times.
And looking at some of the pins here, you have ones from all across the country. What do you hear from fans as you're kind of trading with them?
They get really enthusiastic. You know, they either want to trade with me or they want to, I give them one. They take it home as a souvenir, something special to remember.
And when it comes, you know, I see some of the merch here. You know, you have jerseys, you have sweatshirts. A pin's something, it's easy to carry around, and it's easy to collect.
Yeah, and it's not very expensive. And it's a great memory of the Grey Cup, a time you spent here, and the people you met.
And you were telling me earlier about one of the pins that you're wearing right now and the significance of that to you.
Oh, yeah, well, like, this is when the Bombers won the '84 Grey Cup special.
And you got that from the club because when they needed a little financial help back in the day, you stepped up. Why was it important for you to support the team?
Well, I think if you buy the merchandise and you go to the games, it's good. The Bombers will survive if you keep supporting them financially.
And although the Bombers aren't in the Grey Cup this year, we're going to have a great matchup on Sunday. Who you cheering for, Ron?
Riders.
Well, you heard that. A Bomber fan cheering for Riders. Plenty more happening here, Marilee. We'll join you back at the end of the show.
All right. Thanks, Danny. Looking forward to it. The CFL awards were handed out last night at Club Regent Event Centre, and despite the Bombers not making it to this year's Grey Cup, one of their players is taking home a lot of hardware.
And the winner is...
And the CFL's most outstanding rookie is Trey
Vavel.
The 25-year-old rookie kick returner also captured the Special Teams Award. That makes him just the third person to win both in the same season. A full list of the CFL's winners can be found on our website. Just go to ctvnewswinnipeg.ca.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with your complete Skywatch forecast. Grey Cup weekend is here and weather cooperating.
Listen, I'll tell you what, here in Winnipeg, we reached almost 11 degrees, 10.7 at the Forks outside of the city. Well, we had Morden, 16.7 degrees, almost 17 degrees in the middle of November. Carmen, 15 degrees, and other places across the south pretty darn close to those temperatures as well. Will they be as warm tomorrow? No, this won't last for very long, but temperatures will remain above freezing for really this Grey Cup weekend, which is good news. Of course, dipping overnight below freezing, only just, but still, we shouldn't be rising above the freezing mark for daytime highs by this point of the year, but we still will be throughout this weekend. In the meantime, a soggy start to the weekend, a few bands of light rain moving across southern Manitoba right now and heading east into northwestern Ontario. There's not much to this, and it will clear out pretty quickly in the next couple of hours or so for most areas. And I seem to be sticking here. Hang on. There we go. That's always a relief when the computer starts to work, doesn't it? Anywho, what I was saying, that rain will start to move along pretty lightly, as I mentioned, in the next couple of hours. Then we clear out pretty quickly after that. Meanwhile, we've had this low pressure system crossing northern regions. We had a snowfall warning that was in effect. That's ended, but still we have snow blowing around and continuing to fall for that most northern tier of the province. But you can see the heavier snow falling actually further north of Manitoba. Meanwhile, we clear out overnight here in the south. The sun will shine all throughout the day on Saturday here in southern Manitoba. No, we won't be seeing double-digit highs, but still we will be getting well above freezing, which is well above normal still for this time of year. 5 o'clock tomorrow is when the Santa Claus parade gets rolling here in downtown Winnipeg. As I mentioned, the sun will have set by that point, so the temperatures will start to drop off a bit, but so will the winds. Tomorrow will be a bit of a windy day. Overnight we go into Sunday. We're clearing out more and more throughout more of the province. A little bit of light cloud Sunday morning across the north, but sun shining across southern Manitoba for Grey Cup Sunday. For tonight, we'll see at least some clearing overnight, down to -2 here in the city. Winds out of the west at 20 kilometers an hour. -1 to start off the weekend in the sunshine. Winds out of the west at 20, gusting to 40 for several hours. But by the time we get to that parade start time, lighter winds. But in the meantime, we get up to 3. Normal high for this time of year is closer to -2. In the north tonight, Churchill, one of those areas that had been under that snowfall warning. The snow is still coming down and blowing around, down to -8 there. Cloudy for Gillam, Island Lake, and Thompson. A little bit of flurry activity tonight for Thompson, and for tomorrow, -6 there tonight. Temperature only rising a couple of degrees to -4 for Saturday. Some flurries tonight over Lynn Lake, down to -8. Varying amounts of cloud for the rest of the region. Lows between -2 and -4. Cloudy for Flin Flon tomorrow, -1. OCN in the Pas, -1 under a mix of sun and cloud. A few clouds tonight over the southwest. Overnight lows between -6 and -7. Sunny and windy tomorrow. Brandon up to 3 degrees. Dauphin up to 2. Winnipeg and the surrounding areas will see the temperatures clear overnight. Overnight lows -2, -3 with sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud. Cloudy tonight in northwestern Ontario, and those temperatures really holding steady over the next day or so. Mostly cloudy for most areas, but still quite mild. Our first weather photo takes us out to beautiful Rivers, Manitoba, and a look at that scene there. That photo was taken by Liam. And this next one is a look at Churchill. Look at that stunning sky. That is from Shelby Lynn. Send us your weather photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Instead of waiting to do things, we do the big trips. We don't wait.
Battling a serious illness twice. How a mom made it to the other side thanks to some help from people like you. Motherhood is tough. From the sleepless nights to the moments of doubt to the immense demands. But it also unlocks an inner strength many of us didn't know we had. Chantel Thurston drew on that strength as she fought appendix cancer not once but twice. A diagnosis that required difficult and painful surgeries which couldn't have been done without blood donations. She's sharing her story as we mark the end of week 2 of this month's Hero in You campaign in the hopes you will make an appointment to donate blood.
Chantel Thurston loves being a mom. From fierce pride to intense joy, her face shows it all as she watches her 11-year-old son Kyle try his best to score her a goal. Moments she doesn't take for granted.
I was worried that I wouldn't see him learn how to ride a bike or learn how to read. So as we're hitting those milestones now that he's growing up, it's just so fun to be there and watch.
7 years ago, when Kyle was just 2, doctors discovered Chantel had appendix cancer. And in an instant, her dreams of growing her family ended. Chantel now faced multiple rounds of chemo and extensive life-changing surgeries.
They take the spleen, the gallbladder, the appendix, the omentum, and I had a radical hysterectomy as well.
Blood donations kept Chantel alive through all of those surgeries. The recovery was difficult and painful, and not without complications. But Chantel battled through it all, determined to get back to life as a mom.
The sweater because it was cold the first night.
In the years since, Chantel has made it her mission to live life to its fullest, grateful for every moment she's able to share with her son.
Instead of waiting to do things, we do the big trips. We don't wait to do things. We just make sure that we enjoy our lives and spend the time as a family together. That's what's really important to us. We've gone to Disney World a couple times. We do a road trip every summer, so we've done Banff and South Dakota. And this summer we actually drove out to Toronto and stopped along all the stops along the way.
But all that fun and adventure was shattered a year ago when doctors broke the news Chantel's cancer was back. In February, she underwent surgery again to remove it. And this time, Kyle was old enough to be by her side through it all.
He was upset that Mom was away for a little while. He did come to see me in the hospital. He did have trouble when I came home. He was upset. He thought things would have gone back to normal, and it was hard for him to see me just kind of lying around for a little while and being still quite sick.
It's taken some months, but Chantel is thrilled to be back in her usual spot in the stands, reveling in every moment of her son's hockey glory. And if she's learned anything from all of this,
that was the Epcot ride.
It's to make more memories while she can.
We're talking about actually going to England in the springtime. If I'm not here, hopefully my son can remember all these things that we've done together, and as he goes forward in life, and if he hopefully builds a family one day, then he can do the same thing with his family.
Every day, people here in Manitoba undergo major surgeries like Chantel, where blood from donors is needed to help replace the blood lost during those procedures. Just one donation from you this month can help save up to 3 lives. We are asking you to be a hero as part of our Hero in You campaign and book an appointment to donate blood. We started this month needing to fill 1,236 appointments, and with your help, 722 have now been booked. Tonight, 514 appointments remain, and you can take one of those open spots by booking an appointment online at blood.ca or on the Give Blood app. You can also call 1-888-2-DONATE to make an appointment. And when you do donate blood, make sure to take a photo in front of the Hero in You banner at Canadian Blood Services and share it with us using the hashtag CTVWPGHero. The photos you're seeing on your screen right now are just some of the heroes who've helped us by donating blood this month. The province is warning of another potential measles exposure at a hospital in southern Manitoba. Health officials say it happened at the Portage District General Hospital Emergency Department in Portage-La Prairie Tuesday. That's November 11th between midnight and 4:30 a.m. Anyone who was there during that time is asked to monitor for symptoms for about 3 weeks and to make sure their vaccinations are up to date. Researchers have developed the first new type of malaria treatment in 25 years. New drugs are needed because parasites learn to adapt to older treatments. Testing so far shows this drug not only works well against malaria, it's also effective in slowing its spread. The next step is applying for regulatory approval. Researchers are taking a closer look to see how sweat and salt work together to keep us cool. A few years ago, scientists at Arizona State University created a first-of-its-kind outdoor sweating mannequin named Andy to better understand how the body cools itself in extreme heat. The next phase of the project uses real human subjects wearing a specialized heat suit, which uses a micro camera to see how the sweat glands turn on and off. And it turns out our sweat evaporates 3 times faster than we originally thought, leaving salt deposits behind in the process. In this salty sweating process that actually cools us down. Scientists haven't reached any conclusions just yet, but early data suggests not taking showers right away may actually help you cool off faster.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
The party continues ahead of Sunday's Grey Cup matchup. We'll have a preview of what you can expect this weekend just ahead.
Magical sights and sounds are coming to downtown Winnipeg. It's time for the Manitoba Hydro Santa Claus Parade. Stream it live November 15th at 5 p.m. on ctvwinnipeg.ca. Brought to you by Manitoba Hydro. Spotlight sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Serena Ryder, the Merry Myths Tour.
A free street festival has taken over the University of Winnipeg campus, and it is all part of the festivities leading up to the big Grey Cup game. The Wawanesa Street Festival kicked off yesterday on Spence Street and will be running until 8 p.m. tomorrow. The festival includes indoor and outdoor activities, along with food vendors lining the street. Performances for tomorrow's lineup include Mama Cutsworth's Family Dance Party and singer Jade Turner.
Yeah, it's a real celebration of something that's special in Canada. It's an event. It brings the country together, and I think it's a unique sports league where rivals don't get so cranked up that it gets mean, and we're still friends. We're still friends, even though he wears Stampeder gear and I wear the Ryder green. So.
The Calgary Grey Cup Committee is also bringing a free pancake breakfast to the street festival at 11 a.m. tomorrow. A Puerto Rican superstar has another award to add to his collection. Rapper Bad Bunny won Album of the Year at the 2025 Latin Grammy Awards in Las Vegas yesterday. The 31-year-old Puerto Rican rapper and singer dedicated his award to the young people of Latin America, urging them to never stop dreaming. The artist walked away with 5 awards from the Grammys, also scoring the Best Urban Song. From 2020 to 2022, Bad Bunny was Spotify's most streamed artist globally. Kickstart your weekend with some great entertainment, beginning with Celebrity Wheel of Fortune at 7. Special Forces World's Toughest Test is on at 8. Boston Blue is next at 9. And at 10, it's Happy's Place. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
The CTV Primetime lineup is brought to you by Strictly Amish, exclusively in Arborg, Manitoba.
Back in Touchdown Manitoba, and coming up we'll have more sights and sounds from Canada's biggest social.
Okay, we got time for 2.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Tonight, shoppers shifting holiday spending.
I'm finding the prices have gone up so much.
The economic challenge is biting into budgets and where Canadians are cutting back the most. Later on CTV National News.
Well, did you double check the calendar today? That's right, it is mid-November. We got up to almost 11 degrees in Winnipeg. The normal high is -2. Tonight, we'll see some clearing overnight. We drop down to -2, +3 on Saturday. A little windy, but sunny and mild for this time of year. Grey Cup Sunday, abundant sunshine, 2 degrees. Monday, sunny. We have the City Hall tree lighting, which we will bring you live here on CTV News at 5 and at 6.
Well, football fans have no shortage of ways to keep busy between now and Sunday's Grey Cup final. So let's check back in one more time with CTV's Daniel Halmerson, who is at the convention center. And Danny, Colleen and I are jealous. We want to be where you are tonight. So take us around, make us feel like we're there, and take us right into the weekend. Why don't you?
I can barely hear you because we're listening to Manitoba's own Brandy Vesna behind us. Alan Doyle, of course, taking the stage later tonight. But celebrating Manitoba, celebrating Winnipeg, and of course celebrating Canadian football all weekend long. We'll have the Grey Cup live for you Sunday right here on CTV as well. But we'll leave you tonight with Brandy leading us off. Have a good night.
Danny, the dance floor looks pretty empty. Why don't you get out there and get the party started?
Bust a move, Danny.